The perfect time for stories has to be the end of the day. Here are 19 reasons to read Full Dark, No Stars. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Dave Musson, at Dave Musson on Instagram, and this is a place where I'm taking you through the works of Stephen King in chronological order and giving you 19 reasons to read all of his books. If that sounds like something you would like more of, click around the rest of my channel, see what else you'll find, and maybe hit subscribe as well so you don't miss any videos in the future. Now, last time out, we counted down my personal ranking of 2000s King, which you can see up there, which means we're into a new decade. 2010, Full Dark, No Stars. And this one is a collection of 4 novellas that King put out as one little book, obviously. Otherwise, I'd be talking about them individually. Now, I'm going to give you 19 reasons to jump into this collection. And you know what? I reckon I can make it spoiler free as well. So hey, stick around for the whole thing, okay? So this is King's third collection of 4 novellas coming after Different Seasons and 4 Past Midnight. The thing that ties this one together is that all the stories have got some sort of dark secret at their heart and some sort of element of revenge about them. And they're all really good. That's kind of your headline from this one. They are all really good stories. And the paperback version also included Under the Weather, which was later collected in the Bazaar of Bad Dreams, which we'll get to in a few more weeks. So the stories here are largely not supernatural in nature. They're pretty much all straight suspense stories, certainly for at least 3 out of the 4 of them. And it almost marks a new chapter in King's career where he did move away from supernatural stuff for a little bit. We got bits and pieces here and there, but it wasn't really until Revival in 2014 where supernatural really came back. And even after Revival, there was a gap again before The Outsider in 2018. So this is kind of the start of a new phase of King's approach to writing. So as is often the way with King's shorter works, this collection has been rinsed when it comes to adaptations. There are some fairly okay TV movie versions of Big Driver and A Good Marriage, while Netflix picked up 1922 and made an excellent version of it. So 1922 is the first story in the collection, and it tells the tale of Wilfred James, who, back in 1922, decided to get his son to help murder his wife and then hide the body. Now, unsurprisingly, that sends people involved a little bit crazy and his son goes off the rails. It's a really excellent opener to this collection and a really strong and powerful story in its own right. So 1922 is violent and does not hold back on the language used. If you're a reader of a squeamish disposition, maybe just watch yourself when you're going into 1922. So no spoilers, because I said I'd try and keep this spoiler free, but I will give you one word that acts as a sort of trigger warning for 1922. Rats. The fun fact for you, 1922 is set in Hemingford Home, Nebraska, which nicely links to a few other King works. It's where Mother Abigail lived in The Stand, it's where adult Ben Hanscom ended up living in It, and it was also the setting for The Last Rung on the Ladder, Tractor. So next is Big Driver, the story of an author called Tess who tries to take a shortcut on a drive home from a book event that she's been at, ends up driving into the trap of a very, very nasty man who beats her, rapes her and leaves her for dead in a pipe alongside the bodies of other women to whom he has done the same. Tess, though, survives, finds out the name of her attacker and plots some revenge. Again, this story is brutal, some quite harrowing scenes to get through in this one. I found Tess to be a really great character in this one. As well as making her resourceful and angry, I think King does a really good job of capturing the shame that Tess feels for being attacked, even though she has no reason to feel that shame in any way. Watching her mull things over in her mind and decide what she's going to do in reaction to what happens to her is really fascinating. Finally, got to give a shout out for the name of the bar in Big Driver. So it's a bar on a road called Stag Road, and the bar is called The Stagger Inn. Lovely bit of business. So third up in this collection is possibly the weakest of the four, Fair Extension. So this one tells the story of a guy called Dave Streeter who is suffering from cancer, and he bumps into this travelling salesman called George Elvid who makes him an offer. He says he can offer Dave an extension on his life, another 15 years in return for 15% of Dave's salary every year. And not just the money, he also needs the name of somebody Dave would like to transfer all of this weight, all of this bad luck, all of this bad gunky onto. Dave takes the deal. But here's the twist. Dave transfers the weight of his misfortune onto his best friend, Tom Goodhue, a best friend Dave has secretly hated for years. Lovely stuff. Now, if you're thinking this all sounds a bit deal with the devil type of story, well, the guy who sells in this deal, his name is Elvid. Elvid. Think about it. Or write it down and then jiggle the letters around. So even though this story is a bit on the nose, I think the creativity King shows in letting us see how Dave's misfortune manifests itself into Tom and his family's life is really rather entertaining. So finally, A Good Marriage. Now this one is about Darcy Anderson, who has been married to accountant Bob for 27 years. Now Bob is away for work. Darcy needs to go into the garage to get some batteries. When she's looking for these batteries, she inadvertently stumbles across a little cubbyhole of Bob's that reveals Bob to be a mysterious local serial killer named BD, and very obviously proves that he is that killer. Not good. Even better, or worse for Darcy, Bob has decided to cut his work trip short, and he's realised that Darcy has found his little stash, and he wants to come home and explain himself. Is Darcy going to be able to just carry on as normal? So Bob is a quite terrifying character, possibly the most terrifying person we've met named Bob anywhere, and he feels very real and very fucking dangerous. Your pulse will be racing every time he is on the page. So this story is actually inspired by Dennis Rader, the real life BTK killer. Now King said he sort of got the idea for this after the public outcry against Rader's wife, Paula. She'd been married to him for 34 years and says that she never had a single inkling that her husband was this horrendous killer. It got King's brain whirring, and A Good Marriage was the result. In fact, that backstory kind of makes this one a bit of a controversial story for King. But Dennis Rader's daughter actually spoke out against King for writing it, criticised him, saying it was exploiting her family, and the victims of her father. Now King did respond with an open letter to the press saying that the story was less about the husband and more about the strong and courageous woman, but it was a bit of a talking point that perhaps might not have been one people would have been expecting to be quite as big as it was. But there we go, 19 reasons, done spoiler free, to read this collection of nasty novellas. Let me know what you think of this one in the comments, and let me know which of the 4 stories here is your favourite. If you enjoyed this and you want more explorations of reasons to read Stephen King books, you're in the right place. Click around, you will find plenty more. There's also a load of specials as well. How about, off the top of my head, My Ultimate Guide to the Dark Tower. It's up there. Go and check it out, see what you think. And if you want to come and talk King on Instagram at all, I'm at Dave Musson. Always happy to chat. Next up, we're going back in time and we're taking on one of the very best books Stephen King has ever written.